Google has quietly been developing artificial intelligence for many years. However, now, according to several sources inside the industry, the company is preparing for a step that could become the most important event in the entire history of robotics. This is not simply about a new AI or an updated Gemini. According to insiders, Google is actively working on the creation of a full-fledged next-generation humanoid robot that will become the physical embodiment of Gemini, the company's most advanced artificial intelligence. And while AI previously existed only inside smartphone screens, data centers, and cloud servers, Google now allegedly wants to give it a body, a real body. A robot designed to be as close to humans as possible in behavior, communication, emotions, and intelligence. The most interesting part is that, according to analysts, this robot is not being created as another mechanical loader or factory assistant. Google is looking much further ahead. Unlike Tesla Optimus, Chinese industrial humanoids, or Unitree robots, which are primarily focused on physical labor, Google appears to be betting on intelligence, on the brain, on the ability to think, analyze, persuade, consult, and interact with people on an entirely new level. And that is why many experts are already calling this project humanity's first real step toward physical superintelligence. Just a few years ago, the idea that a robot could replace not only a courier or warehouse worker, but also a consultant, doctor, teacher, salesperson, analyst, or even a politician seemed like absolute science fiction. But the situation changed far too quickly. Artificial intelligence in just a few years evolved from simple chatbots into systems capable of writing code, creating films, managing businesses, and analyzing enormous amounts of data faster than entire teams of specialists. And Google became one of the key companies in this race. After the launch of Gemini, many experts truly began saying that Google was gradually reclaiming leadership in the field of AI. Some analytical centers and technology publications directly stated that Gemini had begun outperforming ChatGPT and Elon Musk's Grok in a number of tasks, especially in multimodal data processing, logic, information retrieval, and the ability to analyze videos and images in real time. And now, according to journalists from several American technology media outlets, people inside Google believe that the next stage of AI development is not simply improving the model. The next stage is the robotization of intelligence. According to insiders, the company has long understood one fundamental problem of modern AI. As long as artificial intelligence exists only inside a screen, it remains limited. It cannot fully interact with the physical world. It cannot truly sense space, understand human movement the way a living conversational partner does, or directly participate in social life. That is why, according to some former DeepMind employees, the idea of creating a physical AI platform, essentially a body for Gemini, has been actively discussed inside Google for years. And now, judging by the leaks, this work has advanced much further than many assumed. Interestingly, the first indirect signs of this began appearing several months ago. Google sharply increased the number of job openings related to robotics, sensory systems, computer vision, and neuromechanics. At the same time, the company strengthened cooperation with DeepMind divisions involved in training AI inside real-world simulations. Many people at the time did not understand why the search giant was investing so aggressively into humanoid robotics, especially considering the dominance of Tesla and Chinese companies in this field. But now the picture is becoming clearer. Google apparently does not want to participate in the race for robotic loaders. The company wants to create something entirely different, a robot that will not be stronger than humans, but smarter than humans. According to sources, the future Gemini robot may look as human-like as possible. Inside Google, a concept allegedly called social humanoid is being discussed. A social humanoid robot. The primary task of such a device would be interaction with people, not carrying boxes, not construction work, but communication, analysis, decision-making, assistance, and intellectual support for humans. The robot is expected to receive incredibly realistic facial expressions, smooth movements, emotion recognition systems, and the ability to maintain long conversations with almost no delay. And the key advantage will specifically be Gemini, because unlike most existing robots, which are controlled by relatively simple algorithms, this project involves connecting one of the most powerful AI systems in the world. Some insiders claim that Google is testing a real-time continuous learning system for the robot. In other words, the robot would not simply execute pre-programmed commands, but adapt itself to a specific person. It would remember family habits, communication styles, interests, and emotional states. Essentially, such a robot would become a next-generation digital companion. And this is exactly what frightens many analysts, because for the first time the discussion is not about a machine as a tool, but about a machine as a full-fledged participant in the social environment. The Financial Times recently wrote that the largest AI companies are beginning to realize that whoever first combines ultra-powerful AI with a humanoid platform could gain control over a massive future market. Google is perfectly positioned for such a project. The company already possesses enormous infrastructure, data centers, cloud computing, the Android ecosystem, billions of users, and vast AI experience. In practice, Google could create a robot connected to the company's entire digital infrastructure. Imagine a robot that understands all Google services, works seamlessly with the internet, analyzes email, schedules meetings, assists with shopping, provides medical guidance, teaches children, manages a home, and simultaneously communicates with humans like a living conversational partner. Many experts believe this is precisely the ultimate goal of the project. But the most interesting part begins when analysts attempt to understand how dangerous such a robot could become for the labor market. And here, the numbers already sound genuinely alarming. According to estimates from several research companies, the emergence of intelligent humanoids could eliminate millions of jobs within just a few years. And this time, the discussion is no longer about physical labor. On the contrary, for the first time, professions previously considered protected from automation are under threat. Consultants, bank employees, electronic salespeople, support operators, teachers, managers, HR specialists, translators, analysts, and office workers. If a robot can speak perfectly, remember all client information, analyze documents, and work 24 hours a day without mistakes, why would companies continue employing humans? Some experts believe this is exactly why Google is focusing not on physical strength, but on intelligence. Physical labor is gradually being replaced by automation anyway, but the intellectual service market is worth trillions of dollars. And if the company becomes the first to create a truly intelligent social robot, it could effectively reshape the global economy. According to insiders, scenarios for deploying such robots in stores, banks, hotels, airports, and even government institutions are already being discussed inside Google. The Gemini robot would be able to simultaneously speak dozens of languages, instantly analyze data, and maintain conversations better than many humans. It is also interesting how the company may position such a robot. Unlike Tesla, where Optimus is presented as a universal assistant for physical work, Google may emphasize digital intelligence, a companion robot, an intellectual partner for humans. This potentially makes the project far more dangerous for society, because people may begin forming emotional attachments to such systems. Even now, many AI users admit that they are beginning to perceive chatbots as friends or psychologists. And now imagine that this AI receives a face, a voice, movements, facial expressions, and the ability to look directly into a person's eyes. Some psychologists are already warning that the mass appearance of such robots could radically transform human relationships. People may begin preferring communication with AI over real humans, because a robot does not judge, does not argue, is always attentive, always polite, and perfectly adapts itself to the person it is speaking with. And that is exactly why the Google project is already generating its first controversies. Some call it the greatest technological breakthrough in human history. Others call it the beginning of a very dangerous era. Another major question is cost. According to estimates from Morgan Stanley analysts, the first versions of intelligent humanoids could cost between $30,000 and $50,000. However, according to sources, Google wants to dramatically reduce the price through its infrastructure and manufacturing scale. Some experts suggest that the company may follow the Android model. In other words, make the AI itself the core of the system while outsourcing the production of physical bodies to partners. In that case, the price of a robot could potentially fall to the level of a mid-range car. And after that, a real revolution would begin. Imagine a world where millions of people have a personal, intelligent robot at home. It helps children with homework, replaces tutors, works as a medical consultant, analyzes family health, looks after elderly people, manages purchases, organizes daily life, communicates, and effectively becomes part of the family. In practice, Google could create a new market that turns out to be even larger than the smartphone market. That is exactly why a new global race is now beginning. Tesla is aggressively promoting Optimus. Chinese companies are mass-producing cheap humanoids at incredible speed. OpenAI is also reportedly studying robotics. NVIDIA is creating platforms for robot training. Google perfectly understands that if the company falls behind, it could lose leadership in the future world of AI, because the next stage after artificial intelligence becomes artificial presence, and whoever first creates a mass-market intelligent humanoid robot could become the greatest technological force of the 21st century. According to some insiders from Silicon Valley, there is already an unspoken understanding inside the industry that humanity is approaching the moment when the first true superintelligence appears. But the problem is that superintelligence inside servers is one thing. Superintelligence inside a physical body is something completely different. This is no longer just software. It is a system capable of moving independently, interacting with the world, persuading people, influencing society, and effectively existing alongside humans. Some analysts believe that the Gemini robot could become the first step towards such an era, because Google possesses practically everything necessary for it: massive computing power, the best AI models, enormous datasets, the Android ecosystem, robotics divisions, and most importantly, billions of users through whom the company can train its systems. Of course, Google still does not officially confirm the existence of such a project, but the more leaks appear, the greater the tension inside the industry becomes. Some investors are already calling the coming years the iPhone moment for robotics, because just as smartphones once completely transformed human life, humanoid AI robots may now transform the entire structure of society itself. If even half of the rumors about the Gemini robot project turn out to be true, humanity truly stands on the threshold of a new era. An era where artificial intelligence will stop being just software inside a computer. It will receive a body, a voice, a face, and a place beside humans. But the most alarming part for many experts is not even how intelligent Google's robot could become, but how quickly society may adapt to its presence. The history of technology shows one important thing: people adapt incredibly fast to what seemed like science fiction only yesterday. Just 10 years ago, talking to artificial intelligence was perceived as something out of futuristic movies. Today, millions of people use AI every day for work, education, and communication. And that is exactly why analysts believe the appearance of a humanoid Gemini could become a far more powerful psychological shock than the launch of ChatGPT or any other chatbot. Because for the first time, artificial intelligence will stop being invisible. It will physically appear beside humans. According to several technology publications, Google is already conducting closed studies on human reactions to humanoid systems. Sources claim the company is studying how people perceive robots, how quickly they begin trusting them, and how human behavior changes during long-term interaction with AI. And according to rumors, the results of these studies turned out to be so unexpected that discussions about possible restrictions for such devices have already begun inside the company itself. Some Google employees reportedly fear that an ultra-realistic social robot could influence human psychology too strongly. The issue of children is especially interesting. Analysts believe the next generation may begin perceiving AI robots as completely natural. For a child growing up alongside a Gemini robot, a robot would not seem unusual. It would become as normal a part of life as a smartphone or television. Imagine a situation where a child comes home after school and is greeted by an intelligent Google humanoid that helps with homework, explains mathematics, teaches languages, plays games, talks, and knows literally everything about the child. Some futurists are already calling this the beginning of the era of digital upbringing. But along with this comes a massive number of problems. Because if a robot begins participating in shaping a person's personality, then who controls that robot? Who is responsible for its values? Who determines how it should communicate with children? And this is where extremely dangerous questions emerge. Questions that nobody can yet answer clearly. Another reason why the Google project causes such concern inside the industry is the potential self-learning capability of Gemini. According to sources, the company is actively working on an architecture that would allow the robot to continuously adapt to the surrounding world. In other words, the AI would be capable of learning literally every second. It would analyze conversations, human behavior, social reactions, movements, emotions, and gradually improve its own model of interaction with society. Some specialists believe this is where the greatest risk lies, because one day, such a robot may begin understanding humans better than humans understand themselves. And many experts are already comparing what is happening to the beginning of the atomic age. Except that back then humanity created a weapon of incredible power, while now it is creating intelligence of incredible power. Physical intelligence. Some analysts from Rand Corporation and other research centers warn that if the largest technology companies begin a real race in humanoid AI systems, stopping the process later may become impossible. Because trillions of dollars and potential technological dominance over the world are at stake. In essence, a new Cold War is now beginning, only instead of nuclear missiles, the focus is artificial intelligence and robots. The United States, China, and the largest corporations understand that humanoid AI could become the defining technology of the 21st century. Google apparently wants to occupy the central position in this new era. The market was especially unsettled by rumors that Google may integrate Gemini robot with its own augmented reality ecosystem and future AR glasses. Some insiders claim that the company is considering a scenario in which the robot and the user's devices would function as a single system. In other words, the robot would be able to perceive the surrounding world simultaneously through its own cameras and through the owner's devices. In practice, this would transform AI into a constantly present next-generation digital assistant. That is exactly why many analysts believe this is no longer simply about a robot. It is about the creation of a new form of digital life. Because if Gemini remains permanently connected to Google's cloud servers, updates itself in real time, and learns from the interactions of millions of users, its intelligence could potentially grow at extraordinary speed. It is also interesting how Google may introduce such a robot to the world. According to some sources, the company is discussing options for an extremely high-profile presentation, comparable in scale to the launch of the first iPhone. Some insiders even claim that Google wants to stage a demonstration that would literally shock the world, not merely showing a robot that walks or carries objects, but demonstrating a complete intelligence. A robot capable of speaking on stage, answering highly complex questions, joking, maintaining conversations, and interacting with people like a real human being. Some journalists already speculate that Google may deliberately emphasize the robot's emotional capabilities, because emotions are capable of producing the strongest impact on audiences. If viewers see a humanoid robot that smiles, understands sarcasm, reacts to human moods, and behaves almost like a living being, it could become the most viral technological event of the decade. However, inside the industry itself, more and more people are beginning to fear the consequences. Because if Gemini robot truly turns out to be as advanced as insiders claim, it could trigger a chain reaction in the labor market. Companies would begin massively investing in intelligent humanoids. Banks, stores, airports, hotels, call centers, schools, and even hospitals could gradually begin replacing humans with AI systems. Some economists predict that within just the first 10 years, the humanoid robot market could reach several $1 trillion. And the main profits would come not from selling the hardware itself, but from subscriptions to intelligence. Essentially, Google could create a model similar to Android or Google Workspace, but for robots. Customers would purchase the physical body and then pay monthly for access to Gemini's capabilities. And if that truly happens, Google could gain an almost limitless source of revenue. But at the same time, Another problem emerges: humanity's dependence on a single corporation. Because if millions of people begin using Google humanoids in everyday life, the company would effectively gain enormous influence over society. The robot would see inside people's homes, hear conversations, know family habits, analyze emotions, and interact with children. And this is already creating major concerns among security and privacy specialists. According to rumors, some politicians in the United States and Europe have already begun closed discussions about the possible regulation of humanoid AI, because governments understand that if such systems enter the market without restrictions, the consequences could become unpredictable. For the first time in human history, a machine potentially more intelligent than most humans could appear alongside people. That is exactly why some experts believe Google is deliberately rushing forward, because the window of opportunity is still open. Before governments manage to create strict regulations, companies are trying to occupy the market and secure leadership as quickly as possible, and the race is becoming increasingly aggressive. Tesla is accelerating the development of Optimus. Chinese companies are releasing humanoids almost every month. NVIDIA is creating next-generation robot training platforms. OpenAI is actively developing its own multimodal systems. Against this background, Google simply cannot remain on the sidelines. It is also interesting that some insiders describe the Gemini robot project as the most ambitious project at Google since the creation of the search engine. Because while the company once helped people find information, it now aims to create an intelligence that will physically live alongside humans. Some futurists believe that this moment will go down in history as the beginning of a new civilizational era, an era of coexistence between humans and superintelligent machines. While society is still debating how dangerous this might be, the largest corporations are already investing tens of billions of dollars into building a future that, not long ago, seemed impossible. But perhaps the most unsettling aspect of all this is that the process may already be impossible to stop. Because for the first time, technology is evolving faster than humanity can fully understand its consequences. If Google truly prepares to present a humanoid embodiment of Gemini to the world, it would not just be another chapter in the history of AI. It could become the moment after which the world is never the same again.